Hey fam, how y'all doing? It's your Uncle Tim. This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews. How you doing, Timsters? How you feeling? Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the love and the support. Thank you for being you. Thank you for positivity that you bring to this channel when you come. Fam, I want to say some things. I was talking about the G.I. Joe classified line yesterday. I was talking about how they're smart enough not to create vehicles for that line. And people were telling me like, hey, that ain't smart. They missing money. Not really. Think about it. In order to put a vehicle out, they had to do crowdsourcing. Now, see, if they create vehicles for this line, they will sit on the shelf. And I'm just being honest, they really would sit just on the shelf. Because these vehicles ain't gonna be $20. These vehicles ain't gonna be $30. These vehicles ain't gonna be $40. They will be somewhere around $100. Why? Because you're doing them on a 6-inch scale. So these gotta be way bigger. And for that plastic and that money, everybody like, look, but the Buzz Lightyear, you look at those ships, they could do that. You know what? They can. But the biggest problem that we have with a lot of things, we want things that do stuff. We want things with moving parts, lights working, things doing things, and that costs. That's not cheap. $300 for a his tank. I thought about it at first. Then I looked at it. I said, damn, you got a 6-inch tank for 6-inch figures. I mean, this tank is going to be gigantic. It'll be the damn size of almost a shelf that, I got my stuff on. So you got this giant tank. A lot of people may have 2 or 3. What would you do with the rest of your figures, the rest of your stuff? If you don't have a lot of space, this is going to take up a lot of space. Vehicles take up a lot of space. This is why Masters of the Universe Revelations didn't create vehicles. Why? They created the Battle Cat, and guess what? He sat on the shelf until he went on clearance. Masters of the Universe Origins had vehicles. Guess what? They sat there until they clearanced them out because the vehicles were kind of pricey. These vehicles are created in 2022 where everything is expensive. Inflation is high. This is not created in the 80s where things is cheap and you can get this for relatively nothing. Those times are gone. They was talking about the Buzz Lightyear. How about, Joe's make something like Buzz Lightyear ships, where everybody customizing the ships and, making them into Cobra ships or Joe ships or whatever. They were asking why won't they do something like that? And I'm going to say this straight off the bat. Because we can't have that. Like I said, everything got to be tricked out. Everything got to be able to do something. For some people, it looks too cheap. I've seen a lot of people customizing those ships. A lot of Jeeps from certain lines. It was some Hello Kitty Jeeps that I noticed that people were taking and painting and putting giant Cobra signs on them. And I was like, wow. I showed you a video on the community section where a guy did for 6-inch scale, a Sky Striker and a Cobra Rattler. He was saying how much he was selling them for, and people were getting kind of upset. I think he said $1,200. And they were like, wait, hold on, man, that's too damn expensive. That's too expensive. He said, do you know how much it costs to make this thing? How much it costs of my time, just energy and my brain power to get all this stuff somehow to work and to get it together to make it. And I'm like, people are not looking at that. This stuff will be very pricey. These are not cheap things that people are thinking of. They're thinking that these things will be relatively cheap and, well, it'll be like $40. Serpentor, when he come out, he might be $150. Who knows? The damn Air Chariot alone looked fantastic. So they're not going to get in there and tell you that it don't be, it's just don't be $75. No, you going to pay. Anything that look like it's worth something with any line out there, they're going to make you pay. One reason why Power Rangers were so good for a lot of people, because they had a lot of vehicles. They had a lot of big robots. They had a lot of stuff. But see, you know what? That was the Power Rangers motto. They had, Morphozoids, and they turned into big old robots Let's get in Dragon Zord and all of this Birdasaur. And, I'm just saying just stuff now. But, I'm just saying, this is how it worked. And a lot of people just didn't get it. They were so gung-ho with things. And, they look, and a lot of us got spoiled on that 3.75 line where there were so many vehicles popping up left and right that we were just looking, oh, yeah, we should be able to get some more stuff. Then, 2000 hit. Then I think 2003. Then 2004 with the Dollar General and Family Dollar, where they was putting out those Valor versus Venom, those G.I. Joes. Then they had the big old mountain base. Then they had a lot of other stuff. Fam, they brung out so many vehicles. Yeah, but guess what? Those vehicles weren't as, top notch as the vehicles in the 80s. Because you're dealing with inflation each time that you do this. Now, all of a sudden, they're looking at it like, this won't be feasible. They will lose money on vehicles, fam. In order to put out a nice number of vehicles, you got to create a gigantic number to put out. And guess what? A lot of that stuff will sit. And, a lot of us, think that, they'll sell out everything. No, they won't. The reason why they sold out of that his tank, because you know what? After a while, you seen the deal in it. For the people who see that the 4 figures with it made it a deal. But before that, I didn't see it, fam. And I'm looking at it now. You still looking at a year out. It was just like I was telling you that other day about the Sentinel and the HasLab thing. It was a year out. Once you got it, it's different now. But, you're looking at it like, damn, you still have to wait a year. And this is what I'm getting at. They last, crowdsourcing thing, I think was, Star Wars? That didn't work out. Not everybody on board with everything. And that's my point. You got different markets that are, able and ready to spend that money. With G.I. Joe, a lot of people were ready to spend the money. But see, Star Wars and these other lines, people are not ready to spend that money. It depends on how the group of people you with are, And this is what I'm getting at. The vehicles will be too pricey. And you know what? I don't think it'd be a really good deal for, collectors everywhere, because sooner or later people start complaining about how expensive they are. If the toys anywhere from 22 in some places to 30 in some, just imagine how much the ships would be. Or, the vehicles themselves. Things will be pricey. Think about it. They already repurposed the Ram cycle to make it Duke's Tiger Force vehicle, his motorcycle. So it's letting you know right now they recycling stuff, and they're not trying to put out vehicles. They're just putting out action figures. Because again, they're dealing with limited resources, and I said this before. Kids don't buy toys. They buy toys, but they don't buy these toys. And again, as the guy said, it's for people nowadays. Kids are into their tablets and their phones. That's what they're into. They're not into it. They don't have ties with toys and, the cartoon, they go with the toy. Fam, those days are done. Nostalgia only play a small part in it when you haven't been there. See, people like us in this generation, we can understand the connection with the toy and the cartoon. They can't. And see, that's okay. But see, for a lot of us, that's not okay, because we like, why won't they produce this? Why they won't produce that? Why is it taking them so long? Because after a while, you got to see if this stuff gonna sell. Some of that stuff on Hasbro Pulse is still sitting there. Look at them roadblocks. Look at those Snake Eye movie figures. Look at a lot of stuff that's still sitting there that nobody touching. That lets you know that, yeah, they take losses in some of this stuff, and they're looking at the bigger picture. Everything affects the bottom line. If people are not buying, guess what? It's just sitting. And when it sits, it don't help anybody. And if it's not selling, sooner or later, the store, wherever it is that your merchandise is being sold at, will remove it because it's not selling. You're not going to let anything sit on your shelf that don't sell. That's just how it works. You're not going to keep any toy that you don't like. Sooner or later, you just get rid of it. These are overall points that these companies are making, and they looking at it like, hey, if we do it in limited spurts, put a small group of figures out, let them buy them up, and we just keep doing it like that. Keep sprinkling it on the market. Keep sprinkling it. Why they keep sprinkling? Because it keeps you interested. It keeps you saying, oh man, these people are not putting out stuff. They could put all this stuff out. No, they can't. Because it would just sit on the shelf. When we see as consumers a ton of merchandise on the shelves, oh, I just buy it later. If I see one on the shelf and there ain't shit else there and it's what I'm looking for, I grab it. But see, they realize that too. If they overstock the shelves, it'll sit there. That's what they did in Toys R Us in Canada, in a couple of those, where they overstocked the shelves and that stuff just sat. As they started pulling off some of the merchandise like it had sold, people were snatching that stuff up. I had friends telling me they were just snatching stuff up because they thought other people were buying it. And, you know, they only have limited stock now. Fam, companies realize when you put too much out, nobody buys it. You put just a little out, everybody goes snatching it up. A lot of times people gripe on McFarlane because he puts out so many figures and there's so much stuff out there. Sometimes it sits because he puts so much out. And some of them are true gems. But if you got so much out there, if you got 5 Joker Titans, 5 Owlmans, 5 Supermans, from the Crime Syndicate, you know, the Ultraman, and you got 5 Superwomans out there, they're going to sit for a minute because it's so many. But if it's just 1 or 2 each, somebody will come and snatch them up. The logic. Supply and demand, but you don't put too much out there. You create the demand, but you sprinkle the supply. And people will be ready to get it. Look at the PlayStation 5. The demand for the PlayStation 5 is still crazy. But people are not spending those astronomical prices. The day of those astronomical prices is pretty much over. People asking for $1,000 for a used PlayStation 5. People like, yeah, you can go and keep that. Or, you know, a lot of people I noticed, they had PlayStation 5s for $1,000, right? And you remember back in the day when Walmart had all those clearance PlayStation 5 games on sale at the Walmarts? You know, that secret sale that they were saying if you go on certain sites, they'll show you the secret sale. Fam, you know, people were buying those games. It was like all type of games. And it was all type of controllers and headsets. So this guy had a bundle. He had the actual console. He had a controller, an extra controller in 5 games. Dude, do you know you tell somebody $1,000 or $1,100 for that? You know how fast they would jump on it? Why? You know how much the games cost. You know how much the controller costs. You know how much the headset costs. You like, damn, that's a deal. Think about it. The system with the CD is $500. So you just doing the math on that thing. A game is $50, so you like $250, controller, another $50, that's $300. The headset probably $50, $350. You like, I'm at $850 plus tax. $1,000, that ain't bad. Where I'm gonna get that deal at? And you look at all the other deals that everybody is offering. They offering you a controller and a game. Not even a game, just an extra controller for $1,000. You see my point? It depends on how you present it. And a lot of these companies right now, they're presenting, let's have limited stock on the shelves. You know, I noticed that when you put too much out, nobody buys it. I was at a Target the other day, and I was gonna take some pictures, but I forgot. The shelves were so packed. I mean, it was so many toys in the sections. I went through the girls section, I went through the boys section, and I went through like the collector section, and I mean, it was just stuff everywhere. It was toy upon toys. I mean, not one peg was empty. And guess what? Nobody was buying it. Because it's stocked. And when you see stock stuff, you say, well, I just pick it up later. That's the mentality. That's how it works. If you see something and you see a lot of them, it'll be there. I'll pick it up later. They ain't doing that no more. It's like 1 or 2 items out, and you be like, man, I better get it while I see it. It's 6 of them. I'm gonna get it now because I know in a minute these will never be here again. And in all due honesty, you right. They ain't gonna never be there again. You better grab them, and they know that. And this is what they doing with these vehicles. They like, hey, look, we ain't able to put no vehicles out because they're gonna cost too much to produce, and nobody's gonna buy them like that. And if they do buy them, we got to put them in a small enough number. Hey, let's do a crowdsourcing, and we can get people to pay for them up front. That way we're not losing money. That is really smart. That is the smartest thing I ever seen. I understand people saying they're a big toy company, but see, you understand the losses that go with that. You know, a lot of these 3.75 vehicles, you know, you've seen them like in the 80s. You've seen some of them in the 90s repainted because they had so much of this stuff. In the 2000s, you've seen them repainted as something else because they were trying to get rid of this stuff. And in all actuality, most of it they couldn't because they had so much of it. But fam, thank you for watching. Till later, peace out.